Hello friends and welcome to another colour along. Today we are colouring from Awake and we're colouring a fresh pot of tea, which is this sweet little caterpillar making itself a fresh cup of tea. If you don't have Awake, that's alright, because you can buy the July Colour Club pack, in which includes this illustration and in fact all of the illustrations that I'll be colouring in July. Well, let's get going. I was thinking that I've just finished my Elven Home illustration from Night Garden, which I did overload on the light pinks, lavenders and violets. I was thinking of avoiding those colours, even though I'm thinking that would make a really good colour scheme for this guy. I was thinking maybe going some greens, greenish sort of caterpillar. And we do have a fez, which is going to have to be red. And we've got this table, which is sort of a walnut thing, so we've got the red walnut with a green vibe, so that's where I'm sort of heading. Let's see how we go. Let's start with the things we're not going to be able to change, which is the red fez, and we just need a nice red. So let's go with a coral haze, and with a coral haze and a wine red. Now before I start, let's just check that you've got a sheet of paper or card or something to block the bleed through. Just showing you the cover of Awake there. Okay, coral haze. And I'm going to bring in some wine red, just to give us some depth and shadow. But I'm going to bring back the coral haze to blend that in nicely. I'm going to just look at this table. I've got a colour here called caramel, which I can't believe I've not used yet. So I'm going to use that, and I've got a pale mauve, which is the same sort of tones, but a bit darker. So let's start with our caramel. I think I need something lighter, so I'm going to bring a buttercup yellow in. And let's play with that pale mauve. And we'll keep blending with our caramel. All right, a little bit of buttercup yellow. Let's do all of it. We'll just add in some caramel. Now pale mauve. Well, I'm very happy with that table. Now let's look at the china. We need some really light colours for that. So let's bring in some, I tend to err towards my warm greys for the china. I've got a lighter one in yellow grey. I've got a yellow grey 010, so let's play with our light yellow greys. I'm just going to bring in the yellow grey 030 to add in a little bit of shadow depth there. And I'm looking at this cup and I'm thinking I want to add more colour in that. So I'm going to bring in my water and fade proof pigment ink. This is a Unipin fine line, but as long as it's waterproof, I'm going to add in a little bit of tea splushing about in there, maybe even some drops out here. But what I want to do is give it some... got this pattern going on here, so let's try and emulate that pattern. And this is our yellow grey 010. And yellow grey 030, just to bring in some nice shadowy vibes and some dimensionality. Right, I'm going to leave the colours in the pot until we work out what we're doing with the colours on our bug. All right, let's play with one of these sections and see if we can work out a colour scheme. I'm going to start with a turquoise blue, and I think turquoise blue belly might be nice. I'm thinking a mint green light. And I'm going to just subtly blend that with a mint green. And I'm just going to bring in a forest green, just to add a little bit of darkness, a little bit of depth, not too much. And I'm just going to bring the mint green back in and blend that in a little bit. Right, I have this lighter green which is called Celadon. All right, let's roll that segment out across all the segments. So I've got the Celadon green. And I think this little part here, maybe his eyebrows should be that Celadon green. And let's get the top of his little antenna in that Celadon green. And let's grab our turquoise blue and just bring a blend into that. I may need to bring out the thicker nib. Let's bring our mint green light. And our mint green. And just a little bit of our forest green. A bit of a shock yesterday. I went down to the art supply shop because I need a new journal, which is what I illustrate most of my stuff in. It's got my favourite paper in it, and there was only one left, and it was hidden up the back of a shelf, and there was no sign anymore indicating that they were. So I asked at the counter whether they were continuing to stock them, and they couldn't find it in the system. At which point I thought, well, this isn't a good thing. This isn't a good thing. So hopefully it's just a glitch in the matrix and not the new normal where my favourite journal is no longer available and I have to reconsider my whole life's purpose and goal. I'm just bringing this celadon green in to fill these places. Yeah, so I guess my next trick is to go online and see if I can search out where I can find a new source for my favourite journal. It's either that or give up drawing entirely. Alright, celadon, I'll just blend that in. I'm not going to really do that, guys. But there may be a little bit of catastrophizing that occurs in my brain at times. This is a mint green light. I'm going to leave the arms. I'm not quite sure how to approach them. We'll come back at them. Now, mint green. Oh, what have we got? Mint green light, that's what we need. And our mint green. I'm just going to bring some forest green in before that completely dries. I'm going to bring my mint green light to blend that. Let's go the other way just for fun. We'll put our forest green in. Let's do 2 at once. And let's bring our mint green, just straight mint green. And finally our mint green light. I'm just going to blend the edges nicely on that forest green, whilst also blending the edge of that mint green. I'm going to bring in my celadon green, which is our lighter thing for the circles, because we've got some bleed. But if I just sort of push the edges with the lighter colour, take away, if not all, some at least of that bleed which has gone over on it. Got a little bit there, so let's push that out. Right, I think what we need is our celadon green. Let's do our celadon green for our arms, just this first segment of our arms. We'll do his legs as in that colour as well. You know, I think we might also make the tassel and the little button on top of our fez that green as well. Let's bring back our turquoise blue, because I think we need his hands to be turquoise blue. I was hoping to blend a little bit with our celadon on this segment, so it becomes like a blend. So it's probably not that successful there, but let's try this one. And yeah, that's what we want. I'll bring that celadon in a little bit to all right, let's celadon into that. Now, I think we'll give the base a feed of turquoise blue. But also let's bring in some of that celadon. Sort of mix our own mid-green there. Which brings us to the question of what colours are we going to put into our teapots and our teacup. And I am tempted to make these spots match the spots on our caterpillar. Which may be a little ridiculous, but I'm not sure. Caterpillar wearing a fez is going to have a subdued and sensible teapot. Okay, we've got our yellow-grey. 030 this time. And I just want to get the inside of that cup a little bit darker. And then I'm thinking we need to bring in some gold. Now what have I got here? I've got a Uniball Signo gold ink pen. And I think... yes. It's a classy Caterpillar. It's got a gilded teacup and teapot set. You know, I think this is going to mean we're going to bring some of that gold into his fez. We're going to upgrade his fashion. I don't think the fez gets enough of a highlight in modern fashion. I think people need to bring it back in. Bring in the fez, I say. All right, I'm putting my gold pen away. Let's talk about the tea. Let's talk about a nice tea colour. And I think that buttercup yellow that we used down here might be the level of tea that we want. All right, I'm going to bring in a yellow grey 051. It's darker than our other yellow greys. Because I'm thinking we need a little bit more convincing shadows. So I was just going to bring in a darker grey as a shadow encourager, I guess. Yeah, let's just see if that works on our legs. Yeah, I think we can put that on our legs too. All right, I'm freaked out a little bit by how dark that is, so I'm going to bring in a lighter one, the 030, yellow-grey 030, for our arms. Oh, it's a little less confronting, isn't it? All right, let's play with our shadows around our head. If we put shadows on these lumps, on these circles, they'll look like little lumps, which could be fun. Let's do that. All right, I've got my white Posca. Wherever there's shadows, I really think there needs to be highlights. Let's give him a little highlight in his forehead. Well, the light's obviously coming from this direction. That's how we've been shadowing this whole illustration. You can use any white ink pen for this, I guess, but sometimes I like the Posca because it absorbs a little bit of the colour. It's a little more subtle. Although you do have to convince them to work if you haven't used them for a while. Whilst I was at the art supply shop yesterday, I did notice a whole new range of Liquitex acrylic markers, which was the point where I quickly exited the building. I didn't run, but I thought, if I don't leave now, I'm going to be spending hundreds of dollars on things. I don't know if any of you guys have that same problem with walking into art supply shops. I'm imagining you do. I need to go supervised, I think. Otherwise things can get out of hand. The thing is, it can be overwhelming, all that wonderful things, all those wonderful colours. So I try to always go in with a plan. These are the things I need. And I think finally we'll put some highlights on this little tail. And there he is, a fresh pot of tea, a little green caterpillar, wearing a red fez. Another little fun colour along from Awake. If you haven't got Awake, you can grab this. It's full of really cool little things to colour. If you just need a quick colour along. And it's the sister volume to Awake, of course, is Asleep. Both of them have no duplicates, 50 illustrations for you to colour. Well, I enjoyed colouring my fresh pot of tea, and I hope you've enjoyed colouring along with me. Hope to see you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe and to like this video. I'm going to say goodbye for now, but I shall see you later. See you in another video. Bye, guys.